This video was brought to you in part by the supporters of the AMTV Patreon. Thank you. Hi there guys, it's Adam Martyn here, and welcome back to another installment of the Now Review. And for today's episode, it's quite the special one today because we have a release that was quite out of nowhere when they announced this, but I think it's one everyone is really happy to have. So today, we're going to be taking a look at Now Yearbook 83. So as you can see, I have two different versions of this release because this album came out in three different varieties. I have the special edition CD, which is styled like a book, and I have the 3 LP vinyl set, which is the first vinyl that Now's put out in such a long time. I think they did a Now Classic Rock, got a single LP release some years ago, but this was a lovely, lovely surprise. I'm not including the Now numbered reissues either. Nice to have a new Now album on vinyl. I say new, it's all tracks from 1983, but you get the gist. So we're going to be taking a look at both of these albums, what they have to offer, and whether or not you should be picking it up. There is also a standard edition CD as well, which I don't own. I felt I only wanted one version of the CD that came out. But if you want that, that has all the tracks. It's just your standard CD. You can get that in most places. Okay then, so we'll start with this, which is the special edition CD release of Now Yearbook 83. What's so special about it, you ask? Well, for one, it's styled as this almost sort of hardback book. You see there, the spine, it's got the indent of a hardback book. It's a solid material, it's not just a like flimsy case or anything, and there is actually a book in here, keeping with the yearbook title. We'll get into that in a second, but the cover, as you can see, is here using the classic red, blue and green Now logo with the term yearbook and then 83. It's interesting because obviously when Now launched in 1983, this logo didn't exist. The first time we saw this logo was with Now 3, which came a year later, but I mean, it does make sense to have it here as well. It's great seeing the old Now logo again, and the 83 of course, and you've got this lovely like rainbow stripe across the bottom. I'm not sure what the feature of that was, maybe just to give something at the bottom so the black background isn't the predominant thing, but I do like it actually. It's nice seeing it here, and when you look at the spine as well, it's a solid spine, says Now Yearbook 83, and because it's in this book style, it's going to look great on your shelf. In terms of the track list, you have 4 CDs here, and I believe, though always double check, I believe the track list here is the same as the regular edition CD. I think it's the vinyl where obviously there's not as many tracks, but we'll get to that in a moment. But let's have a look at what is on Now Yearbook 83. Okay, so CD1, you've got Club Tropicana, where drinks are free, of course. And you have Eurythmics with Sweet Dreams Are Made of This, Classic Duran Duran with Is There Something I Should Know, Culture Club with Karma Chameleon, Kajagoogoo with Too Shy, Spandau Ballet with True, Paul Young with Wherever I Lay My Hat, That's Home. And Dolly Parton and Kenny Rogers with Islands in the Stream. And right off the bat, avid Now fans will recognise that not all of these songs on this album were on Now 1. In fact, Now 1 only had 30 tracks on it, and there's 80 here. So there's 50 tracks that weren't on Now 1. Just a little bit of information. You got Total Eclipse of the Heart by Bonnie Tyler, a great 80s song. You got Elton John with I'm Still Standing. Uptown Girl by Billy Joel. ELO with Rock and Roll is King. Madness with Wings of a Dove. The Bell Stars with Sign of the Times. Bananarama, Cruel Summer, Men at Work with Down Under. What's that? Joan Armstrong with Drop the Pilot. Not really familiar with that one. But you see what I mean? Lots of songs from 1983 that were big, but didn't get a chance to feature on Now 1 because Now 1 came out in the November of 1983. So this is making up for it big time. You got Nick Hayward with Whistle Down the Wind. The Style Council with A Long Hot Summer. Tracy Ullman with They Don't Know. And UB40 with Red Red Wine, which did feature on Now 1. Great start, really great start, really enjoying that. I love the red trimming as well on the artists here, and as you can see it continues. So there's 21 tracks on disc 1. CD2 kicks things off with Flashdance, What a Feeling, one of the biggest hits of 1983 right there. All Night Long by Lionel Richie. You've got Give It Up by Casey and the Sunshine Band, that's a great one. Let's Stay Together, Tina Turner. Donna Summer, and you've got Laura Branigan, and wow, lots of great artists. Double Dutch by Malcolm McLaren is one of my favourite songs, which is also on Now 1. You got Joe Jackson in there, no relation to the Jackson dynasty. Lots of people. Modern Romance, I like them. Shalimar, I should say. Luther Vandross, Never Too Much. I always forget Never Too Much was that long ago. It doesn't feel like a song from 1983, does it? Billy Griffin. You have Diane Warwick, who is still going. Joe Cocker, Up Where We Belong. That was a bit older, wasn't it? I thought it was like 1981. Or maybe it had a resurgence. I don't know. And the last one is Roberta Flack and Peebo Bryson with Tonight I Celebrate My Love, which again, I believe was on Now 1. And that makes 20 tracks on disc 2. With the blue trims, let's move over to disc 3. Blue Monday by New Order, a classic 83 song, a big tune. It's heard a lot in football stadiums, sporting events. Very happy to see that it's made it on here. Heaven 17, you've got the Human League, of course, with Keep Feeling Fascination. Because Don't You Want Me, that was a bit earlier, that was like 81. You got Howard Jones with New Song, of course. Tears for Fears with Pale Shelter. Surprised it's not Mad World. Surprised Pale Shelter's on there. China Crisis. You got U2, yeah, U2 were still rocking in 83. Simple Minds, The Stranglers, Echo and the Bunnymen, great Liverpool band there. Public Image Limited, Swedes and the Banshees, The Cure, Men Without Hats, The Safety Dance, of course, that to be on here. ABC, Funboy 3, and the last few being Aztec Camera. You got The Mighty Wah, you have Carmel, and you have Elvis Costello and The Attractions with Pills and Soap. That's another 20 tracks on CD 3 there. That's with your green trims. What I'm liking is there's some lesser known artists to the modern day, like Echo and the Bunnymen. That's great to see them on a Now album like this. And then on to CD 4 with the orange trim. So you got the Police, Every Breath You Take. Huge smash hit at the time, and I don't think that was on Now 1. Toto with Africa. I mean, what can you say about Africa? That hasn't been said. It's great. Robert Plant with Big Log. Genesis with Mama. Marillion is on here. Mike Oldfield with Moonlight Shadow. That's a Now 1 feature. Spandau Ballet with Gold. Duran Duran again with Union of the Snake. You've got Adamant, who was, I think, fading out gradually at this point. Altered Images. You've got Marilyn. You've got Haysi Fantasize? Something like that. Toya. Love a bit of Toya. You've got the Lotus Eaters, the Thompson Twins with Hold Me Now, great song. Paul Young again with Love of the Common People. Culture Club with Victims, the Flying Pickets with Only You, wonderful. And finishing us off are the Pretenders with 2,000 Miles, which again, I didn't know was that old. I didn't know it was 83, and a song you will often hear at Christmas now, of course. So those are your 80 songs that make the album. There's some interesting omissions. As normal, I don't think Madonna was on here. She burst onto theme with tracks like Holiday, and there's no Michael Jackson. I can understand, obviously, that's a whole other subject for itself, but, you know, songs like Billie Jean, which was one of the biggest number ones of the year, that's not here. Songs like Beat It, or, you know, or songs like Thriller, anything off the Thriller album is not here. But that's remained to be said. I'm not that much of an aficionado. I don't know if every single Now 1 track is featured here. Of course, rights change, licenses change. But considering Now 1 had 30 tracks and this has 80, all from 1983, not just the last 2 months, you're getting some serious bang for your buck. Opening this up then, there's CD 1 encased in there and CD 2 in there. And the discs this time around, I'll just get one out to show you. So it's black discs and the colour is the same that's there. So CD1's in red. This looks a bit orange, but believe me, it is a red. And that corresponds. So you've got one in red, one in blue, one in green, and one in orange. And the main feature of the special edition CD, which I'm sure a lot of you will be getting it for, is the fact that it is a book. So there you can see it says, "Welcome to the Now 1983 Yearbook." And this is full of great information about 1983 as a year, the year of music, what was happening. Obviously, I'm not going to divulge everything because you'll probably go and get it. And what's nice is we have the tracks, and then there's information about them, information about how they did in the charts, what kept them off the charts, what they beat off the charts, all that sort of stuff. Basically, the old sleeve notes that you used to get in the Now albums are basically back as a limited edition feature, which is, you know, a little bit of a shame when you put it like that, but it's so nice to have, you know, all this information about 80. Bear in mind, they're all featured 80 classic tracks in here. This is such a lovely feature that extends to the whole book, and it's not just song features, would you believe? Sorry, no, I'm not doing it justice. I've only got one hand free. It's the return of the quiz. I think they did this for Now, what was it, the 80s party, the box style one. There's a Now quiz, which is good. You get pictures of the sleeve notes for the singles, and the answers are in there, and then CD track lists. And then true to form, CDs 3 and 4 are housed at the back, one in green, one in orange. So that is your yearbook style. Again, apologies I couldn't show you more in depth about it, but I feel, if you like the concept of it, you're probably going to pick it up yourself, aren't you? So that is the main feature about the special edition. It's the fact that all the tracks are there, but you get it in that lovely sort of hardback style quality, so it'll be a lot more durable. And you're also getting the book, which contains reams and reams of information about 1983 and UK pop music, as well as a huge dose of information about each of those songs. If you want to know that, that's all in there for you, all 80 tracks. And a little quiz. We all love a quiz, don't we? So that's the special edition version. This is going for about, I think it's between £15 and £16, whereas the standard edition, I think, is more between £10 to £12, so it's a couple of quid extra, but I'd absolutely argue it's worth the purchase. I mean, I got this for a reason as opposed to the standard edition one. I know some people are getting all three, but I went for this one. But we will put the special edition CD aside for now, and we're going to take a look at the lovely vinyl. So here it is, the lovely vinyl edition of Now Yearbook 83. It stands nice and tall, almost off my camera's range there, as you can see. But yeah, look at the cover. So it's just a nice black background. You've got the classic Now logo, the red, blue and green from the early 80s, which was first seen in Now 3. You've got the title Yearbook and 83, denoting that all the songs on this album are indeed from the year 1983. You've also got this lovely rainbow stripe at the bottom. I'm not really sure what it's for, but hey, it's cool. I'm glad it's there. It reminds me of the Wham album, what was it, Final? One of their compilation albums. I don't know why it's there. It's a cool effect. And normally I don't like black backgrounds, but considering what's on here, especially since this is vinyl artwork, it is really cool. Maybe for the vinyl they could have gone more elaborate with the artwork, but with what we've got, this is really, really nice. Okay, so LP1 side A, you've got Wham, funnily enough, with Club Tropicana, great song. You've got Eurythmics with Sweet Dreams Are Made of This. Duran with Is There Something I Should Know, which, funnily enough, was the second track ever, I think, on Now 1, if memory serves. Culture Club with Karma Chameleon. You've got Spandau Ballet with True. You've got Tina Turner with Let's Stay Together. And Roberta Flack and Peebo Bryson with Tonight I Celebrate My Love. A lot of those tracks did appear originally on Now 1, so it's nice to have them back here. And no Phil Collins, though. No You Can't Hurry Love, which was the very first track on Now 1. Okay, so side B of LP1, you have New Order with Blue Monday, one of the best stadium songs ever, still got a great beat to it today. Heaven 17 with Temptation, that was also on Now 1. You've got the Human League with Keep Feeling Fascination. Howard Jones with New Song, one of his best songs in my opinion, still gets a lot of airplay today. You've got Tears for Fears with Pale Shelter. Really surprised Mad World wasn't on here. And the Thompson Twins with Hold Me Now. I personally prefer Doctor Doctor from that album, but that came out in 1984, so makes sense it wasn't going to be on here. So that's LP1, which has 13 tracks to it. Moving on to LP2 and side A, you have The Police with Every Breath You Take, which I think wasn't on Now 1. They wanted it to be. It was one of the few number ones that didn't make the cut, unfortunately. You have Toto with Africa. I mean, what else is there to say about Africa? One of the best songs ever made, quite frankly. You have Genesis with Mama, which again wasn't on the original Now 1 release, I think, but it is one of my favourite Genesis songs. It's probably the single version, which is about 3 minutes long. I highly recommend, though, the full version, which is about 6 minutes. That's really good. You have Bonnie Tyler with Total Eclipse of the Heart, another Now 1 track, a brilliant song, very defining of the era. You have Joan Armstrong with Drop the Pilot. And then finishing off, you have Men at Work with Down Under, another great song, and Mike Oldfield with Moonlight Shadow, which was another Now 1 track. So let's now move on to LP2 side B, and you have U2 with New Year's Day. Yes, they were pumping out stuff even back as 1983. You have Simple Minds with Waterfront, and you have, what's that? Is that Public Image Limited with This Is Not a Love Song? You've got Suey and the Banshees with Dear Prejudice. You've got The Cure with The Love Cats. Men Without Hats and The Safety Dance, which of course had to be on here, didn't it? You have Marilyn with Calling Your Name, and then Kajigoogoo with Too Shy Shy, which is a very corny song, but, was very 1983. So there's 15 tracks on LP2. That takes our grand total to 28. And now we have LP3 side A. So you have Lionel Richie with All Night Long. Again, very defining song of the day. You have Luther Vandross with Never Too Much, which is, I'm amazed that song's that old. Donna Summer with She Works Hard for the Money. Laura Branigan with Gloria. Freeze with IOU. Rocksteady Crew with Hey You, the Rocksteady Crew. And Malcolm McLaren with Double Dutch, which is a great song. Another Now 1 track, really happy it's there. And now the final side, which is LP3 side B, you've got Elton John with I'm Still Standing, which wasn't on Now 1, I think. Billy Joel with Uptown Girl, UB40 and Red Red Wine, Joe Jackson with Stepping Out. You have the Stranglers with European Female, the Style Council with Long Hot Summer, Nick Hayward with Whistle Down the Wind, and finally you have Paul Young with Love of the Common People. Surprised it wasn't Wherever I Lay My Hat, because that was one of the closing songs on Now 1, but they've gone for the other one, which is absolutely fine. And once again, like LP2, there are 15 tracks here, which takes our grand total to 43. So there's 43 tracks total, which is obviously a far cry from what the CD versions have. I believe both the standard and the special edition CD have the full list, which I think is about 80 tracks. So you are just getting over half of that. But that makes sense because with vinyls, for anyone who doesn't know, vinyls have grooves where the songs are stored. And the more songs you store on one side of vinyl, it can affect things like the quality and the length of what you can put on there. You know, some of the later Nows that came out on vinyl in the 90s had 10 songs aside. So it makes sense that they had to cut down. Did they select the best out of what was available? Well, we'll find out because we'll eventually move on to the CD. But first, let's have a look at the actual disc. Okie dokie, so here is your example. All 3 discs are red. There's my ring light. All 3 discs are this lovely red colour. Look at that, that's glorious. It has the logo in the centre. It's got the rainbow ring, which it reminds me of one of the record labels of the day. I can't remember which. And then it says LP1 side A, and side 2 is no different. They're all like this. They're all pressed like this. I just thought I'd show you an example. Look at that beautiful red colour. Now, coloured vinyl, it isn't, will also not necessarily provide the best quality, and I've heard different reports on this on various groups I'm a part of that say this isn't the best quality vinyl. I'm yet to play it yet, so we'll find out. But if you're into coloured vinyl, then this is definitely a release for you. So that in a nutshell is now Yearbook 83, a nice triumph to see now return to vinyl, as mentioned earlier. So just to recap, you're getting 3 LP discs on here. It's not a gatefold album, where the vinyl opens up. I thought that could have been quite useful, but for whatever reason, it is not. But you get 3 LPs, all coloured nice and red. You have 43 tracks total, which is just over half of the 80-odd that appear on the CD versions. This is a limited edition release. It retails for £29.99, so 30 quid, essentially. I got mine from Amazon. I believe Amazon have sold out, and a lot of places might have done. You can get it at places like HMV as well. Not as likely to find it at places like the supermarket. So if you want it and haven't got it already, I would advise tracking down a copy now, because secondhand vinyl, especially something like Now, which has a fan base and is popular, will start retailing for expensive prices. So if you want it, make sure you get it now. No pun intended. Okay, so we've looked at both editions. So, is this album worth your time? Well, if you're a Now fan, I'd absolutely say it is. I mean, if they're starting a series here and they're going through the years, this will be really cool. Like, imagine if later down the line they got to like the 2000s and they put that on vinyl. So many 2000 songs that have never had a vinyl release might get one, and the thought of that is just incredible. So it's a definite purchase if you're a Now fan. If you're like on the fence, maybe stick with the CD versions, like the standard edition, which isn't here, but as I said, is the base way to get it. It'll be about a tenner or £11. The limited edition CD, though, I think is the superior version just for the book format, the information. It's in a really nice design as well. The vinyl version, of course, is for a bit more of the diehards, if you're into vinyl, that sort of thing. Although, again, it is limited edition at £30. So if you want it at that price, I would go and get it now before it disappears off the face of the earth forever. But yeah, absolutely a wonderful release from Now. A bit unexpected, as they say when they announced it, but I'm really happy that they've done it, really happy to own this in the collection. And I hope this yearbook trend continues. I think this has been quite successful, so hopefully Now we'll carry it on. We'll hopefully get yearbooks 84, 85, and so on. I'm excited to see what the future holds. But that's all for this installment of the Now Review. Thank you very much for watching. As always, if you enjoyed it, please do leave us a like, and let me know in the comments who you get in the vinyl version, the CD version, or one of the CD versions, I should say. Let me know in the comments, and if you haven't already, please do me a little favour and subscribe to the channel for more content. We review Nows as they come out, some past ones as well, and a load of other stuff too. So, I've been Martyn from AMTV, and I will see you next time.